9440.
A 4405.
944405. 05.
All right, welcome back, crime fighters, for the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us find some of the bad guys and solve some crimes. I'm Chris Wright, your host, along with our sheriff, Matthew Wade. Good to see you, Sheriff.
It's always good to be on the show, Chris. Thanks for having me for another week.
And it's good to be here with some healthy deputies. There was a little bit of concern here very recently that some of them might not be healthy today.
Absolutely. You know, anytime my phone goes off in the middle of the night is not normally a good thing, and it happens more frequent than people think, but they woke me up yesterday morning about 5 in the morning and said that we had shots fired, and there really wasn't a whole lot of information, but apparently two deputies and a Ohatchee police officer was trying to get a subject that we have dealt with numerous times. He's ran from us numerous times. We've had to fight him before, just not a very good citizen, and they had found him on a remote wooded trail behind his house, and he had crunked the car and ran over a deputy. You know, sometimes people think of that and they go, oh, really, whatever, but that deputy was, by the grace of God, is still here, and it's because he hit a tree that kept him from traveling completely over the deputy. Deputy had to crawl out from under the car. It's caught on the body cam video from the three deputies. His body cam video actually is destroyed in the process. It shows a truck hitting him and it just goes blank. But the best possible scenario could be is he wasn't seriously injured. The driver of the truck, they did shoot, but he's going to make it. He's going to be perfectly fine. And there was a female passenger in the car that was totally uninjured.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that part, because you've got a situation going there where it's a very dramatic situation.
Very.
Officers know that their lives and lives of people that they work with are in danger, and they are firing their weapons, discharging their weapons, and this person, who I don't know exactly how innocent she was, I don't know all the details, but she's not the person that they're targeting. And she, with bullets flying, she remains safe, and that's a credit to those officers.
It absolutely is. I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but it was in the teens, 15 to 20 rounds maybe, 10 to 20 rounds were fired, and she was totally uninjured, and it's by the grace of God that nobody was hurt worse than they were. And the suspect, hopefully we can get him gone and give Ohatchee and us a break from him, because he's just a menace to society out there. It's just always having to deal with him. And maybe we can get him gone with this for a while to give the Ohatchee community a break from him. But he's going to be fine, and we're just very thankful and thank God that none of our deputies that I had to call their wives or family members and say their loved one was no longer with us. That's just, it's a very stressful thing, and we're going to take care of those guys, and we're going to make sure that they get what they need to return to duty fully functional, physically and mentally.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's say thank you to our viewers for the help that they've given us over the last week.
Got a big lineup today of people that helped us arrest. Thank you for that. 4,453 people put in jail because you were willing to help us. We cannot do it alone. Thank you.
All right, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup, and we'll talk about some things that are a little bit more fun as well when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's get started with this week's lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up this week is Scarlett Solette of Anniston, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a forged instrument. Sean Landry of Jacksonville, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for negotiating with a non-negotiable instrument, aka passing bad checks. Thomas Hayworth of Weaver, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a controlled substance. Darla Kelly of Piedmont, wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Marlon Story of Talladega, wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Melissa Ferguson of Jacksonville, wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a controlled substance. And Sean Roper of Asheville, wanted on a probation violation for fraudulent use of a credit card. That's just the first half of this week's lineup. We'll talk about some more folks here in just a few minutes. If you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. All right, right, we will have the second half of this week's lineup coming up in just a few minutes. But Sheriff, it's still technically summer, but we're past Labor Day and starting to get into some of those fun fall activities now.
I love the fall. It's my favorite time of the year.
Mm-hmm. And to talk about one of the fun fall activities, Fall Fest, coming up here soon. We've got Stephen Fawn from the Calhoun County Extension Office and Jim Wakefield, who's a master gardener here. Guys, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so the Fall Fest is an annual event. More and more people coming to it. It's a lot of fun, and it's coming up on what's the date? Is it
September 21st.
September 21st,
Yes,
Saturday.
That'll be 9 till 2 p.m.
Can we have a little bit cooler weather than what we had at Bryant-Denny Stadium this past Saturday?
I sure hope so. That it's just wanting to hold on this summer heat. So wanting to hold on at the last minute, I think. So.
All right, so tell us about the Fall Fest and what we can expect.
It's kind of a throwback to county fairs. This is our 13th year having the Fall Festival out at Cane Creek Community Gardens, and that is located out at McClellan. And the address for the listeners is 77 Justice Avenue. And the event will be held from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And we have all kinds of vendors that'll be there, a lot of educational stations, a lot of different food vendors included with that. There'll be wildlife programs from 10, 11, and 1 o'clock. So the kids that come out will be able to see different native species of animals and exotic species of animals and have some hands-on time. Mm-hmm. There will be some alpacas. There will be some other farm animals that's in our 17 acres of property out there at the Cane Creek Community Gardens. Let's see, what else? We've got a cakewalk.
Nice.
That's very
nice.
popular.
Sheriff and I are all about that.
Yes, really wonderful bakers that donate to that. And this event helps allow us to utilize that satellite office with the Master Gardeners and the wonderful work that the Master Gardener Group do out there. This is a good fundraising event that helps us do a lot of sustainability programs. So the cost is $1 for adults, and children are free.
Right. Sheriff,
So-
it's always great when we can have opportunities like this to get our kids out doing some hands-on activities that they'll actually enjoy putting down their video games and devices for a little while.
Absolutely. You know, I believe in nature. I'm an outdoorsman. I love the outdoors. I love different things, and I always tell my kids that there are field trips that hunting and fishing and gardening, things of that nature, are worthwhile, and they're educational, and they teach you how to do things in life that are very meaningful.
That's right.
Jim, what will we see from the Master Gardeners out there?
Well, the Master Gardeners will be contributing most of the baked goods. The president of the local chapter is Dick Pritchett. Dick's going to be cooking with the
Kettle.
the big kettle that they fire up just once a year for this event. We will have, some of the vendors will have plants. There's one guy that comes with mums every year that are priced extremely well. And sometimes I think that the Master Gardeners buy all the mums before the rest of the people get there. But there'll be 1,000
You know
people.
a bargain when you see it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we really do. But there'll be 1,000 people there, and the children, like you're saying, put the electronic devices down and participate. And every year it seems like they have a better time than the year before.
Yeah, that's great. And you just don't have enough. It's easier and easier to let the kids just play on their devices, stay in their room, whatever. When we've got a really good opportunity, people always say there's nothing to do around it. Here's something to do that the kids do really enjoy, and you can do as a family together. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That's right.
All right. So we need to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll talk about more of the details to get people ready to go out and have a good time at the Fall Fest, September 21st out at McClellan. And we will be back with the second half of this week's lineup as well when we return on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's get started with the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. John Cifali of Jacksonville is wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. Stephen Jones of Anniston wanted on a failure to appear warrant for possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana first degree, and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. Jason Cottrell of Jacksonville wanted on bond revocation for financial exploitation of the elderly. Raquez Thomas of Anniston wanted on a failure to appear warrant for obstruction of government operations and resisting arrest. Lester Ledlow of Anniston wanted for failure to pay for robbery first degree. Jesse Wilson III of Gadsden wanted on a failure to appear warrant for burglary third degree. Any information that you can give us to help us find any of these individuals, please call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. All right, we will have the Crime Stoppers segment of the show in just a few minutes, talk about some property crimes that hopefully you can help us with. But Fall Fest coming up here Saturday the 21st out at McClellan. And Stephen, we were talking about what we can expect there. And one of the things that's going to be happening at the Fall Fest is students are going to be showing off some work that they've been doing for months.
Right. Some of our 4-H students here in Calhoun County have been working on some long-term projects. One is called Poultry Pick, where they have been raising either bobwhite quail that they actually incubated, some turkey that they got that was about 2 days old when they received those turkeys about 5 months ago, or 6 chickens. And they've been working on this project really hard, and they'll be bringing in one of those specimens for a poultry pick show, and the winners will be given first, second, or third place ribbons for their efforts. So.
You know, as a turkey hunter, turkey hunting is addicting. Anybody that turkey hunts knows what I'm talking about. You know, seeing these kids raise turkeys would just be very interesting, you know, project to see. You know, I know that people can buy domesticated turkeys at trade days and stuff that I've seen people have, but I've never seen anybody raise or cultivate a eastern or subspecies of that.
Right. So they learned a lot of different management skills, and sometimes some of these go on to be really interested in it and potentially career or have some of their own flocks at their own houses. So
We're going to need some kids growing up in these careers.
that's right. Definitely need, besides just college and career, we need specific trade, industry, and specific interest in that, just like you said, Chris. So.
And Jim, you were mentioning that we've got some other fun things for the kids as well, which they do have a fun time with this, but some basic fun events for all the kids.
One of the really popular rides out there will be the hay ride. David West, the county agent, drives the tractor and he's got a big trailer and lots of hay, and the kids will be piling on there from 9 o'clock till, matter of fact, I think sometimes that they're still trying to pile on and David's trying to quit about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Also, we've got a greenhouse out there, and there'll be some plants for sale also.
All right, so what plants should we expect this time of the year?
Well, the fall plants are getting ready to come in, which is kind of woody stuff. There's I guess only things like azaleas would be the first thing I would think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a green thumb myself, but it only works in the refrigerator. I can grow any kind of penicillin you want.
I understand.
Beyond that, I'm in trouble. My lawn I've got patches of green and patches of brown. I've got one of these circular sprinklers, and I'll move it around, and you can see where it's hit and where it had. It's tough right now.
Yeah, it's been weeks since we had any rain, and everybody's watering. Yeah, I started this morning at 5 o'clock myself. My wife was watering when I left.
Mm-hmm. If somebody's wanting to say, okay, I want to get out there and get my hands dirty, what can we be doing this time of the year?
Right now, you're just getting ready for the fall season. I just spread 50 bags of mulch about 2 weekends ago, and getting that watered in really good. That'll protect the plants during the winter season. My wife's just bought some mums, and she planted those this week. Those should be ready when the fall gets here, late September, middle of October, so that sort of thing.
That shows you how bad I am. Talking about mulching this time of the year, usually when I mulch, it ends up being in the spring as my wife is ready to have things looking good again, so I'll go get that mulch and put it out there. But I really need it this time of the year.
Yeah, that's right. you know, you're trying to think ahead a little bit. Sometimes we don't, and usually that's not going to come out real well for you in gardening. Yeah.
Steve, I love the admission price for this Fall Fest. Just $1 for
Yes,
adults and free for kids.
Just $1. We appreciate everything we can get that goes back into the sustainability efforts there at Cane Creek, and a lot of activities like we mentioned for the kids. We have an apple butter making demonstration. There'll be inflatables for the kids too. Where people are always looking for activities to bring their kids, especially when so many, and get geared up towards the fall. You know, it's almost here. As Jim says, there'll be cast iron cooking. There'll be a lot of other food vendors. There's ice cream that'll be sold there.
I remember getting some fried Oreos there a few years ago.
Yeah,
Are they
there's
gonna be
been
back?
one of my favorites was the person that sold the corn that had special spices on it, which was very
those are
good.
good.
But lots of different food vendors. There's a grocery giveaway that they'll be doing. There's a lot of craft vendors. You know, when you go to a fall festival, you think of all the artisans that do a lot of the crafts. A lot of clothing vendors will be out there as well. You're looking for a changeover from summer to fall. So it's really, all of our vendors are filled up. We have a really wonderful event. It's a good family event. My daughter, who's just 10, loves it. So
And there'll be signs out there to help people find their way, right?
that's correct.
One more piece that I would mention is the country store. The women in the Master Gardeners Association spend a lot of time and effort making crafts. All that stuff is, you know, just like it used to be in the good old days here in Calhoun County, and they'll have some great things to sell.
Get some early Christmas shopping done, Sheriff.
Absolutely.
All right, well, guys, thank you very much, and hope we have a nice day for it, weather-wise, Saturday, September 21st.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, and that'll be out at McClellan. All right, we will be back in just a few moments. We'll have the Crime Stopper segment of the show and our Crazy Criminal of the Week on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. All right, let's take a look at some property crimes and see if you can help us solve any of these. Between August 28th and August 31st, some 20 to 50 foot rolls of fencing were stolen from a residence on the old Piedmont-Gadsden Highway in Piedmont. On September 3rd, a black and silver 2010 Dodge Ram 2500 truck was stolen from a residence on Roy Webb Road in Piedmont. On September 4th, a dirt bike was stolen from a residence on Jamback Road in Anniston. And between September 5th and 6th, the 2005 black Harley-Davidson motorcycle was stolen from a residence on Lee Van Road. If you have information, we appreciate you giving us a call at Calhoun County Crime Stoppers, 256-238-1414.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Sheriff, it's very important that we have some visual cues out there to let us know what we can do, what we can't do, where we can do certain things. Things like stop signs and red lights and crosswalks, for example.
Sure.
But sometimes people get frustrated. We'll say, I want to cross the street here and there's not a crosswalk here. So our crazy criminal this week came up with a solution and
Homemade crosswalk.
homemade crosswalk. Got out there with some paint, not the best quality paint, the highest grade that they would normally use, but we don't know who it was. But as you look at that picture, does that look like a good place for a crosswalk to you?
No, it looks like if I was a betting man, that person is probably lives in a white house with a single car garage. if I was betting. Not that I'm pointing fingers at anybody,
You
but
might be right. That crosswalk showed up on the first day of school for the new year. So probably somebody that's got kids.
somebody's got kids.
And that makes it even worse. Here you've got confusion, hopefully not too many people being confused by that. But the first day of the new school year is the last day that you need people being confused about where they can cross the road.
First day of every school year, traffic is horrendous at every school. New parents, new students, trying to figure it out. It's just a busy time. So, you know, even though you have a crosswalk and a crosswalk gives you the right to cross the road, don't ever trust that people are going to stop. As Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify.
Right.
You know, because people say, well, I got the right. Well, if you get hit by a car, it's not really going to matter. You
That's
know?
not going to help you a whole lot.
Not going to help you. I got the right as you lay up in the hospital or they're buried.
Arguing with St. Peter.
Yes.
That's not what you want.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's going to wrap up our episode for this week. We do appreciate you tuning in. If you missed part of the show, you could watch the entire show on demand at tv24.tv. You can also see the lineup and the Crime Stopper segment on our Facebook page. Just look for Calhoun County Sheriff's Office on Facebook. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup or spray painting your own crosswalks on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.